Hello! Welcome to our second episode. We are the Public Health Rookies, and here we have our wonderful Will, our incredible Rachel, and we have our superstar, Akila, and I'm Joe, and today we'll be talking about what's in your water.
So actually, for this podcast, my phone was listening in on me, and I found a TikTok video that explains a really cool story about a small desert community of Hinckley, California, and we're just gonna play the TikTok.
Roll the clip.
I'm in the town of Hinckley, California. It's a semi-ghost town. I say that because there are still people living here. It's got a pretty dark past, and I want to talk about that a little bit as I show you some of the abandoned buildings. It's an interesting and very sad tale. And you can see right below me the sign that says Goodbye, Hinckley. From 1952 until 1966, Pacific Gas and Electric Company, PG&E, dumped about 370 million U.S. gallons of chromium-tainted wastewater into unlined wastewater spreading ponds around the town of Hinckley, California, located in the Mojave Desert about 120 miles or 190 kilometers northeast of Los Angeles. It's also just a few miles west of the town of Barstow, California. PG&E used chromium-6 or hexavalent chromium, a cheap and efficient rust suppressor in its compressor station for natural gas transmission pipelines. Hexavalent chromium compounds are genotoxic carcinogens. In 1993, legal clerk Aaron Brockovich began an investigation into the health impacts of the contamination. A class action lawsuit about the contamination was settled on July 2nd, 1996 for $333 million, around $700 million in 2025. In 2008, PG&E settled the last of the cases involved with the Hinckley claims. Since then, the population has dwindled to the point that in 2016, the New York Times described Hinckley as having slowly become a ghost town. If you'd like to learn more about the town of Hinckley and its fate, check out the award-winning 2000 movie called Aaron Brockovich.
So that was a really interesting TikTok video, and it's honestly crazy what Aaron Brockovich has done for that town. I found actually a story about one of the residents of this town, and she said that after years of exposure to chromium-6, she has had 5 stomach surgeries and 3 breast surgeries. Both of her daughters have been diagnosed with hysterectomies and fibromyalgia, and her husband was diagnosed with prostate cancer, and they all have asthma, which she believes all came from the contaminated water. Additionally, when they were discovering all this and they were testing for it, when the results came back, it said that they had chromium-6 in their DNA. Like, that's how bad the contamination was.
Forever embedded in their DNA.
And they also talk about how excruciating the testing was because they're all very prone to like nose bleeding and not clotting. And so when they were scraping their gums for the DNA, they wouldn't stop bleeding for like days. But yeah, they want $333 million, which is a lot, but in reality, it's not.
Yeah, like that's barely gonna cover their medical bills.
And I'm pretty sure they only got a very small fraction of that money. Like they didn't get like millions of dollars.
Right.
I'm pretty sure.
Well, that's for them too. I mean, that doesn't even consider if it's in the DNA of the generations after.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Also, PG&E, I think is the company, made billions of dollars off of contaminating their water. So $333 million is nothing compared to like the billions of dollars they made by doing that.
Right.
It's sad.
Yes. But that was just a short little glimpse of one type of story about how it's very important that you know what's in your water at all times. So before we get into the nitty and gritty, I think we should talk about the basics. And so, what are the issues and who are at risk? And I think Joe's going to take it away with that.
Yes, and we will go over the background a little bit. But first of all, I think we all agree that safe drinking water is essential to ensure public health, and it's really a human right.
Absolutely.
So, a quick background, from 2003 to 2009, the CDC estimated that 500,000 people fell ill, and 7,000 people died from 13 of the most common waterborne infection diseases in the United States. Now, today, the EPA, the U.S. EPA, which stands for the Environmental Protection Agency, they pretty much regulate drinking water quality in public water systems. And to answer your question, which is what are the major issues? It's basically water contamination. So most drinking water in the United States is obtained from groundwater and sources, which it can be very easily contaminated. So, for example, harmful germs and chemicals can get in the water from many sources. Some of these sources are stormwater, cracks in water pipe, and other sources too.
And companies.
Yeah.
To make money.
Those numbers are crazy though, because like, I mean, when I turn on the faucet, I'm not thinking about that. I'm just trusting that
It's going to be clean.
Yeah, it's gonna be clean, and I'm not gonna get sick, and all the procedures that were done, like, were done correctly. But like those thousands.
That's
of
a
people,
lot.
Yeah.
Because
For the 2000s?
Yeah.
No, because back in the day, like, I know a lot of, like, water communicable diseases was, like, or infectious diseases was, like, a big deal. And, like, that was probably one of the top killers back then.
Yeah.
But for the 2000s, I'm surprised that that's still such an issue.
And like furthermore, I mean, chemicals that can contaminate water are nitrate, copper, arsenic, and germs that can also contaminate water are E. coli and hepatitis A virus. So they're really different ways that
It's like
water.
all across the board, basically.
Yeah. And some people are more at risk to get sick from this. So, for example, infants, young children, pregnant women, those who are immunocompromised.
I was also going to say, like, we think about ourselves, but, like, think about the entire environment. Like, all the runoff, all these harmful chemicals and germs can go into our fish. And then our fish or, like, the fish in the ocean, and then they get contaminated, and then possibly people eat that, and then it's just, like, a feedback loop.
It is.
We don't think about that, right? Because, like...
Or even the animals.
Yeah, or even the animals,
it's a whole
exactly.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
I mean, water's just so important for environment. And I know going off of what Joe said, he kind of was like listing chemicals. And so I think it's important to note like what you should and should not have in your water. And so some chemicals that you might know that is good to have in your water is sodium, calcium, iodine, iron, zinc, fluoride. Well, fluoride for some.
Yeah.
For some
Not my
places.
turn.
Other Will's job.
And it should not have like naturally occurring chemicals and minerals such as like arsenic, radon, uranium, sulfur, local land use practices like fertilizers, pesticides, livestock, concentrated animal feeding operations, manufacturing processes, sewer overflows, malfunctioning water waste treatment systems like nearby septic systems. I mean, pretty much anything can enter water, so it's just important to like test
Actually,
it.
I have an interesting thing. I talked to after if you remember the first episode, I was talking about how my town doesn't have fluoride in the water, and I was talking to my parents about it, and just wondering like how they reacted to it. They would buy fluoride drops for us that we would have to like
Oh
put in our water
wow!
like ourselves, so we would have that every night.
Wait, so back to that. Was it like common knowledge though? Like, did everyone in your town know?
I mean, I didn't know.
Yeah,
Right, so how did you find out?
I'm surprised your parents did that though.
Yeah.
That is like A1 parenting.
No, literally.
It's like, wow.
I don't know. I don't know if that was something that the town voted on
Right.
or not, but it's not in the newspapers. or anything
Props
like
to
that.
Will's parents.
Yeah, actually,
Thanks,
I
Mom
mean,
and Dad.
it's a really common knowledge, like what's in your water until you're like older and you have like a house and you're like,
Yeah.
wait, I need to like test my water. Like, yeah.
I learned more about it from a Indian Health Services trip that I went. It was in Minnesota, and we learned more about Native Americans and how the fact that in some reservations have some water contamination issues and how it affects children, their development. So it's really we might be living here can be completely different than living somewhere else in the United States. So,
yeah, and they don't have the opportunity to just put these electrolytes in their water. Like, we have all these water bottles that have, like, added electrolytes, like sodium, calcium, all of this, and then they don't even have that.
Right. I mean, we'll talk more about that next week.
Yeah.
But, yeah, so just like our first episode, there's been a lot of milestones for water, like a lot. And so I think Akila.
Yeah. I think it's important because we want to know, like, where we started and where we're at. Although this recent thing is kind of upsetting considering it happened in the 2000s. But it kind of all started in, like, 1969. The Cuyahoga River in Ohio. I don't think I pronounced that right, so don't call me out. But basically, the entire river was, like, covered in oil slicks. And super plausible. And it caught fire the next morning. And it caused around $50,000 in damage. And that's kind of when, like, media started hearing about it, and they were like, whoa, how did this just happen? It just came out of nowhere. And it kind of spurred an avalanche of, like, water pollution control activities that I'm going to talk about later, but such as, like, the Clean Water Act and the Great Lakes Water Quality Agreement. And in 1972, the EPA research supported the Clean Water Act. So basically, Congress passed this act to restore and maintain nation's water by preventing pollution. Kind of like it was like the first basic step that Congress was like, okay, we definitely need to take this. And before the Cuyahoga River, there was so many things that were happening. It's just like not like people again weren't thinking about it because there were other things that were constantly happening. And basically, the Clean Water Act gave Americans the right to waterways that are clean, biologically intact, safe for use, and then included like array of protections and programs to reach that goal. And then in 1987, the Safe Water Drinking Act was established, and that just protected the quality of drinking water in the U.S. And then the biggest and most infamous thing that everyone knows about, unfortunately, Flint, Michigan. This was like the first human-made public health crisis. I guess the other things like it just like kind of happened, and then this was like a deliberate choice, which involved the municipal water supply system of Flint, Michigan. And basically, what happened was that the residents, they kind of like tested the water in a Flint, Michigan home. Like, this is literally how it all started. They just randomly tested the water, and then they actually uncovered that the concentrations of lead were 25 times higher than what should actually be there. Like, the EPA was literally like, what is going on? Like, 25 times higher, and it's lead. It's not even like one of those random electrolytes, right? It's literally lead.
Lead is very bad.
And the residents were literally advised to like start boiling their waters, and like that's not going to do that much. And on top of lead, they had like a lot of bacteria in it as well. So it wasn't just lead, it was like bacteria, and it was so bad. Tens of thousands of people in Flint, Michigan were exposed to dangerous levels of lead, and there were actually outbreaks of Legionnaire's disease, and it killed at least 12 people and then sickened dozens more. And what we talked about before, it's like intergenerational at this point also, because it's just like, if your parents are drinking it, you're going to drink that water, and it's like you're bathing in that water. It's like, it's more than just drinking it, right? It's just the water. It's such a basic necessity. It's like a part of you at this point. You're literally drinking that water. Your cells are using that water. Like, you don't think about it like so biologically, but you have to.
But also lead, just like a little side note, lead in your drinking water can cause damage to your brain and kidneys and interfere with the production of red blood cells that carry oxygen to all parts of your body. And also kids are very susceptible to lead poisoning. So it's a very serious deal. And it's crazy how long it's like happened. Like, no one wanted to fix the issue because it was too expensive.
Yeah, because basically they switched the water supply. And then that's how it all kind of started. And then they switched it back in June 2016 to the Detroit Water Sewage Department. And then, like, the EPA finally tested the water over again. and was like, okay, Flint residents can like finally drink this water. But even then, like, let's be honest, I would not drink that water.
No, I heard on TikTok people still didn't trust the water there.
Yeah.
Because they've been lied to before.
Exactly.
So like, no
The other
one's
thing
trusting
too is
it.
if they say it's over and that it's all fixed, I mean, you don't know the long-term consequences of that until years later, decades later, generations later, like we were talking about earlier. So I don't know, I remember seeing this stuff on the news and just kind of being in awe that, like, you know, I would see videos of people like going to the town hall and waiting for trucks of like bottled water to come.
Right.
It's crazy because if you really want to build that trust with the people, especially if the government wants people to trust them more, you really want to make sure that there's transparency. So,
Well, especially for something as important as water,
right,
you know?
right, and it makes me even question what's going on. Like, I'm from Maine. Like, are they doing? You know, how are they doing? Or what about other states?
Or the fact that they had to test it themselves to find it.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
the thing. And I will say, I just googled this, and I don't want to. It says current lead levels in Flint's water have increased since the beginning of 2021,
Oh my god.
but it's still below federal levels.
okay.
But it's alright.
Did they?
I'm
did
not
they
sure
change
why.
the water supply again?
No, I
that's
mean,
so
Lead
concerning.
isn't water. Like, it
Yeah.
happens. I mean, there's pipes and stuff. It's just, it needs to be below that level.
I think I do remember them also saying that like they had to like actually change the infrastructure for the houses.
You know,
but,
because
like,
it was so expensive.
it's
And I
just so
think that's why it
expensive.
took so long. And that's why it was also like a political, like,
yeah.
because it was during the presidency election. Was it not?
It was elected in 2016.
Yeah, I remember it was a part of, like, it was like a part of the debate because of how expensive it was.
Oh, Trump. Was that the Trump era?
I think so.
2016? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was probably like,
I know. I went to undergrad in Baltimore, and a lot of the infrastructure there, they have lead pipes for the water system. So, I was in like an old building, like while I was there, and when you would turn on the faucet, it would always initially come out like looking at the ground. And they said just run it for a little while and it should clear up.
we literally just got that message from our side note apartment building.
Did we?
Yeah, they were like, just let it like brown, like just let it run so the brown water just.
I don't know. Like, I mean, if they're saying that, you want to trust them.
Oh
but
yeah, it's the
seeing
first
the
good thing
visual
our
of
apartment
it.
building has ever done.
Yeah. Well, especially, I mean, this is, it pales in comparison to what the things people had to do.
Yeah.
Like, you want to trust them, but when you're visually seeing something that's not the color it's supposed to be, you're going to be wary.
Yeah. Oh, back to how expensive it was. Apparently, they estimated that it'd be about $600 million to fix the towns.
Wow. Yes, there's no way.
Super expensive.
But you equate that to healthcare costs
Yeah.
for all the diseases.
Right.
Developed.
It obviously it's worth it, and it said it would have been $80 a day to prevent.
I would totally do that for my kids.
I am.
But like, I'm sure, like, yeah, the means weren't probably there for everyone. But that should have been like a state thing. Like, they should have taken accountability and they should have done that.
We'll touch more on that next week with social.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm just so surprised that happened so recently. But there are still stuff happening like today.
Yeah.
That cause.
Yeah, like I know. I have a couple buddies that go to school in Philadelphia, and there was a chemical leak in the Delaware River tributary, and I remember he was texting me saying that he got like an Amber Alert style like alert on his phone saying like that the water was potentially contaminated and to go buy bottled water. He said like everybody in his apartment building like rushed out into their cars to try and buy as much bottled water as they could. We might be able to insert a picture of that.
Little Amber Alert.
Yeah.
I was with my friend who also goes to school in Philly, and we were all in New York, and she started freaking out. And I didn't, like, obviously I understood the magnitude of it, but she was literally like, the shelves are gone. Like, people were sending her pictures, like, you cannot find water here, to the point where her dad had to, like, Amazon her water. But even then, like, water was running out.
I've never thought about getting water from Amazon, but they sell everything.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, so that, I mean, there was that event. Probably what got a little bit more press recently was the train derailment that happened in East Palestine, Ohio.
Which the TikTok talked about.
It alluded to that. But yeah, so basically there was a train that crashed, and it was carrying a lot of harmful chemicals such as vinyl chloride, which is known to be a carcinogen. It affected a lot of the water, got in the soil, obviously, in the air. It affected 7.5 miles of stream, and thankfully, like, water companies jumped right into action and started like upping their monitoring. EPA came down, and there was a lot of people that were sent to do testing. People were initially advised not to drink water. It was 2,000 residents were told to evacuate if they were within the area of the spill. And they've continued to do testing, and now they say that the water has reached below the levels of safe concern in terms of vinyl chloride. But
Allegedly. I'm just kidding.
well, I mean,
I'm a conspiracy.
I don't even think that's a conspiracy. Like, I don't know. There's different. So there's worldwide regulations
Right.
of like what safe levels are for like certain chemicals within the water in terms of parts per billion, but that can vary state to state.
And I would say it's hard to really determine that. Because I remember in our environmental class, he was saying, like, yeah, these are the standards, but, like, is it really good to have any, like, lead in your water or stuff? So
It's so interesting that we're always referencing our environmental class. Like, we didn't really take that course. How would that?
That was a good course.
I'm really sad I didn't take that course. I'm not gonna lie.
It was good.
I have no idea what they're talking about. Like, I have no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know that when they were saying that the water levels reached below that level of concern, I know a lot of citizens were still hesitant. Kind of going back to the Flint thing again, like they didn't really want to trust that. I know me on like Twitter and TikTok, I saw people posting videos of, like, the streams in their backyard, and it was like clearly discolored, or dead animals like flying around in the yard that were clearly impacted by the chemicals there.
So you're saying you do have a Twitter and TikTok account?
Yeah, we'll plug those.
Get him TikTok famous.
When you were talking about a stream right now, it's actually crazy because when I went to Canada, they literally, like, their streams are so safe that they would literally be like, just get water. Like,
That's how it is in Europe,
yeah,
too.
I would, like, if I had an empty water bottle, I would literally just go into the stream, like, on a hike, get the water, and I'm telling you, it is the best water I've ever had.
That's scary.
And,
I
like,
don't think I could do that.
No, I know, but let's be honest, I was really thirsty. It was after a major hike. But they were saying it was so safe. And honestly, I can believe it. It's Canada, so I'll believe anything.
But there's still, like, animals and stuff in there.
Next topic.
I'd be interested to like compare country to country what their regulations are for levels of concern.
I can tell you the U.S. is probably looser than European countries.
Looser than
I mean, that's what they are with food. But that's like another topic.
That's a whole other podcast. If you want to listen to that, just comment below.
Comment below. Tell us. This is sort of deviation, but comment below and tell us if there's any other ideas for topics that you want us to discuss.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, East Palestine dominated the news, but I think that raised the question, kind of like we've alluded to, what kind of water policy is there now?
Right, and I can talk a little bit about it. So the Safe Drinking Water Act was passed by Congress in 1974, and then with amendments added in 1986 and 1996 to protect our drinking water. So under this act, the EPA sets standards for drinking water quality, and as part of the act, EPA has set maximum contaminant levels, as well as treatment requirements for over 90 different contaminants in public drinking water. So the EPA, so here's a very interesting fact. The EPA estimates that approximately $500 billion is needed over the next 20 years to maintain and improve the nation's drinking water infrastructure. I don't know if they're getting that money.
I was going to say, I feel like they're lowballing that. But I just don't think that's enough. Like, just in Flint, like you just said, it was like 600 million. And
that's like, a small town.
And that's a small town. And, like, that's
that
nothing.
might be under the assumption that everything is running perfectly.
Right.
I mean, the U.S. pays their national defense fund like $800 billion.
Right.
I'm just kidding. But just for water, that's actually like crazy.
But isn't it crazy that they aren't putting in money into that? Like right now, they're just saying that it's needed, but like, why aren't we actively making efforts?
I mean, it'll probably become more pressing like, the worse things get.
Right.
You know?
And then it'll be like $1 trillion. Like,
I guess it's pretty close. I guess it's like double. But
yeah, it's
I
like
guess-
double the amount.
But
But I mean, I think it takes events like, not that you want them to happen, but like events like Flint, like East Palestine, like you kind of need those to wake the public up in a way because nobody else is really talking about that. You know, like we wouldn't have thought to test our own water, we wouldn't take like environmental class.
Yeah.
You know?
So you guys actually tested your water?
Yeah.
How did you do that?
Yeah, so it was like they gave us test tubes,
Okay.
and then they were like, fill it up with like your tap water, and then bring it in, and we're gonna send it to somewhere, which I'll talk about later. And so basically they wanted it anonymous, and I totally forgot what number my tube was. But they listed out everybody's like water, and everyone pretty much lives in this area. There were definitely some water levels with high amounts of lead. And like above the level. Hopefully it wasn't mine. I was assuming mine wasn't because I live in like an apartment with like almost all the students, and so I was like, well, all of these are about the same, so this is all probably our apartment. But there was definitely like I remember one or two, and it had like above the level of appropriate lead.
Wow.
So maybe they have a private well or something that they're supposed to regulate, and their like landlord isn't. But yeah.
I'd have to imagine they're not going to do anything unless
It's like
somebody, like if a landlord's not going to consistently test out
their
water.
Yeah.
Unless
It
somebody
has to be upon the actual resident, unfortunately. Like, it shouldn't be, but it probably is.
And the last thing that I have is the National Primary Drinking Water Regulations,
Wait, can we
Which
talk
are-
about that acronym?
which is the
NPDWR.
NPDWR.
Like, there's no vowels. That's
Just
such a
say
weird
it.
acronym.
So they are the standards and treatment techniques that public water system must follow, and apparently they're a big deal. So it's
Yeah,
That's a hard acronym, so it's a big deal.
So to go off this and kind of like the testing, like what do you do? Like how do you even start? So this is how you test your water. You can just test your water, but you should definitely test your water if you suspect that there is something in your water. There's really like never a bad occasion to test your water quality, especially if you have concerns. So the first step is to examine your local water consumer confidence report, which is required by the EPA to be released by July 1st every year, and shows whether your water source has a higher level of contaminants than recommended. Some places don't get CCR reports, so you should test your own water, and you can do that by sending a little water sample to a state certified laboratory, which is what we did for our class. And you can find one in your area by calling the Safe Drinking Water Hotline at 800-426-4791 or visiting the EPA.gov Safe Water Labs website. And yeah, we did this for our environmental class, and like I said, it was not the best results, which is crazy. I was actually shocked that our apartment complex was safe.
No, I'm really shocked,
Especially
you guys.
because it's brand new.
It
And
is
the
brand
water's
new.
not coming out clear.
Yeah.
No.
That's
Shame.
another tangent, because we could talk about it for hours.
Did you guys see the email?
No, that's what I
No.
talked about. That's what I said. They told us to, like, just let our faucet run.
Because it
to,
was
like,
cloudy.
yeah.
Yeah. I remember you texted our group chat and you were like, is anyone else's water cloudy?
Yeah, mine looks
I was like-
gross.
But so okay, let's say you do this and you get bad test, and your water has contaminants. So like now what do you do? If it's less severe, you can just get a water filter that meets or exceeds the standards set by the American National Standards Institute and NSF International. A really expensive water filter that's supposed to be like really good is a reverse osmosis water filtration system. I don't know what it is, but you can learn about it online if you have contaminants. And
I use this water filter called Invigorated Water. And I actually have to tell you guys, it's the best water filter I've ever used. Like, Britta's like the known one, right? Like, everyone has a Brita filter. But my friend, I'm gonna literally, like, add her, like, shout her out.
Just a side note, this isn't a filter for if you have contaminants.
Yeah.
This is just like a water, like a Brita.
Yeah, but it's like a better Brita.
Like it's a picture.
It's a better
Yeah,
Brita.
it's a picture.
But if you have contaminants, you need to get a filtration system based off of the standards that I just listed. But
I got too excited, sorry.
yeah, you're good. No, but like if you're just talking water, I use a Brita because it's cheap.
Yeah, but I'm telling you guys this is better. My friend at Toasted Kale, she knows who she is because she watches our show. She got me hooked onto it, and it's literally amazing. It's called Invigorated Water. Look it up. It's like not that expensive, but I would say it's like maybe a little bit more expensive than Brita. But basically, like the pH of it is higher. Like it has a pH of 9, and it adds all of these like minerals such as calcium and magnesium. So it's like alkaline water. And it has so many benefits to it actually. Like alkaline water is actually really good for you. It boosts your digestion, improves your liver function, immunity, heart health, like improves endurance, like promotes a good night's sleep. Like I'm telling you, all these things happen to me, and it's not just because I got it. Like I'm like, or it is because I have the water filter. I love this water filter. It's so good.
Does it taste different?
Yes.
Okay.
Like it tastes different. It tastes so good. Like no one's gonna believe me. You guys are gonna taste
this website said the British filter's better.
Okay, no, I'm telling you guys. No, because my friend, she goes to like a nutritionist, and like her nutritionist told her to get this.
Interesting.
Like she got it from like a certified person. They were like, use this filter more than a Brita. So like this is good.
Legit. This is legit.
Yeah, I got experts involved in this. Yeah.
Yes. But that's like, once again, not for like contaminants. If you have a contaminant, you need like an actual filtration, like a stronger filtration system. And like I said, the American National Standard Institute and NSF International will have those standards set for like good water filters to install. But that's kind of for less severe issues. If you have a severe issue, it's a little more complicated because it could be caused by your pipes or the well, and so you may need to like replace that system. So you should contact your local, state, or tribal health department for advice because they might cover the cost. It depends on what like the issue is, but you definitely need to get someone else involved if it's severe, and don't drink your water once you find out. Yeah.
Do not drink your water.
Yes,
like some of the things that you can actually get from water contamination, I just searched it up, like cholera, diarrhea, typhoid, dysentery, like hepatitis. Like you don't want any of this.
No,
like
I'm not sure. Are those severe in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I actually did not know that.
Don't even want to deal with that, like because it's just like inappropriately managed water. Like you don't want to go near that. Just get it tested.
Do you know what's really interesting? And this is kind of off topic, not really. So do you know in Central Park, there's this like that fountain that like I think it's called the Cathedral fountain. I don't know. It's like a circular. There's an angel. People sit by it all the time, and there's like a little tunnel.
Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
But our viewers might. Like, I feel like
I'll put a picture.
I've been to Central Park. So I think
picture. It's like a really popular fountain, and that's like my favorite thing to just sit by it and like people watch. But last time I was there, I was like, I wonder why there's just this like why they built this fountain, and it was actually commemorating the first aqueduct in New York City. It was the first. It was the first thing that brought fresh water to New York City in 1842. Wow. Clean water was healing to New Yorkers who had suffered through numerous devastating disease outbreaks because of the contaminated drinking water in New York City. And so they built this fountain to commemorate it, and like that tunnel too. I don't know what it's called. But that's why there's like an angel to symbolize like the purity of the water. And yeah. I thought that was really interesting. Yeah, I was like, that's so cool. And a lot of people get proposed there because last time I was there, I saw 3 proposals. I saw 3 proposals. Is it that pretty? No, it's like pretty. It's a nice area. It's my favorite area. It's not worth it to get engaged. It's pretty. Okay, last time I sat there, I saw 3 proposals. A woman taking quinceañera pictures, wedding pictures. Like, it's just, like, a great place to just sit and, like, watch people live their lives.
Wait, this one?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I've been here. Gorgeous.
It is pretty.
It's really gorgeous. And
Oh,
like,
yeah,
there's
yeah, yeah.
always
Yeah.
people there. You're right.
It's
packed.
so packed.
packed.
So it's like definitely like fun to people watch. But it yeah, it was built for like that, and I thought that was interesting facts for this.
So like the water efforts literally started in like the 1800s in New York City.
Yeah, it was the first one for fresh
Yeah.
water. That's just crazy.
Yeah.
Actually, honestly, 1842, that's pretty long ago, I guess.
I mean, if we wait 20 more years, that's like 200 years ago. If you think about
Wow,
it.
that's weird.
No,
That's
like,
a weird
if
thought.
we wait
That's
20 years,
weird.
that's 200 years ago.
Yeah. Also, I'm just over here with a weird water fact. Did y'all ever watch that Zac Efron episode on Netflix that I was telling y'all to watch about the water sommelier?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so basically, do y'all know what it's called, the show? It's like Zac Efron's show where he like goes to do things like around the world. And there's an episode with Anna Kendrick.
Down to Earth with Zac Efron.
Yes. And he gets a water sommelier and they test
Sommelier.
Sommelier.
And it's like a wine
sommelier.
sommelier.
Yes, but for water.
Yeah.
And they test expensive waters. I think some that are like thousands of dollars.
I
Which
just want to plug. We have our own resident water sommelier
yes.
in Mr. Michael Chang. You'll probably see a short of
After
him
this,
and
yes.
Faris doing their own water testing, but yeah, Michael wasn't as good as he thought.
I'm skeptical. I don't think waters taste different.
You're
Clean
lying.
water is water.
No, you're lying, dude.
I am skeptical, and I don't know how there's a water
should have done it.
sommelier.
Sommelier.
How is there a water one? Tell me.
Why would I
honestly,
job?
There
Honestly,
needs to
it's a
be
job.
one
Yeah.
because there's people like
Like
you.
you.
who can't
No,
tell the
because
difference,
why would I
right?
ever spend thousands of dollars on a water?
Maybe it has healing properties.
I doubt it.
Michael
Why are you
Convention.
spending thousands of
Oh,
dollars
definitely,
on water?
definitely.
I don't do that
Okay,
either.
why do people spend thousands of
Because
dollars
they have
on
money.
Exactly. So people have money.
Okay, that was a good
Well,
point.
yeah.
That was a good
I
point.
just pulled that out somehow.
But anyways,
Speaking of the fact that certain people who are more economically privileged can therefore afford to get better things, that links us to next week's episode where we'll be talking about social determinants of health.
Very
So
important.
definitely tune in next week for that episode.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining us again. We are the Public Health Rookies, and
That's what's in your water.
That's what's in your water.
Yes.
And we're closing out.
I don't know. Go Knicks.
Bye.
Bye.